You've booked a trip. Maybe you're looking at one right now. Scrolling through options. Comparing prices. Imagining yourself by the pool with a drink in your hand. Picturing that moment when you walk into the casino and the lights hit you and everything feels possible. You've got reservations. Deposits. Money locked in. Credit card charged. And you're making one assumption that might cost you everything. You're assuming the casino you picked will still be there when you arrive. You're assuming the experience you're paying for will actually be delivered. You're assuming the property you chose is healthy, stable, capable of providing what it promised. What if it isn't? What if the resort you booked is bleeding money right now, cutting staff right now, deferring maintenance right now? What if the experience you're expecting exists only in photos from 3 years ago? This isn't abstract industry analysis. This isn't some financial report you can ignore. This is your vacation, your money, your anniversary, your birthday, your once-a-year escape from everything that grinds you down. And 10 properties on the Las Vegas Strip are showing signs of distress that could affect every guest who walks through their doors. I've spent weeks on this, analyzing occupancy data, tracking revenue trends, monitoring staffing levels, documenting maintenance decline, investigating debt exposure, the signals that separate healthy properties from dying ones, the patterns that tell you whether a casino is thriving or barely surviving. And I've built a list, 10 casinos, ranked by risk, from properties showing early warning signs to properties where insiders are having quiet conversations about timelines and restructuring and what happens when the math finally catches up. This is the list no one in Vegas wants you to see, the ranking that could change how you book your next trip, the information that might save your vacation, or save you from wasting money on an experience that doesn't exist anymore. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know I don't do sensationalism. I don't name properties to generate outrage. I show evidence, document patterns, let the data speak. That's what we're doing today. 10 casinos, exposed, ranked, explained. And if you're planning any Vegas trip in the next 2 years, this is the video you need to watch before you book anything. Subscribe now, because this list will be updated, conditions change, properties improve or decline. You're going to want to know when the rankings shift and which way they're moving. Let's get into it. I want to be clear about something before we start. Being on this list doesn't mean a property will close tomorrow. Vegas casinos are resilient. They've survived recessions and pandemics and every kind of crisis imaginable. Properties can struggle for years before anything dramatic happens. But being on this list does mean something is wrong. Something measurable, something that affects your experience right now. Whether that's understaffing that leads to long waits, or deferred maintenance that shows up in your room, or service decline that turns a special occasion into a disappointing memory. And in the most serious cases, being on this list means your reservation itself could be at risk. Properties get sold, rebranded, restructured, closed for renovation with unclear timelines. It happens. And when it happens, guests are the last to know. So consider this your early warning system, the information that lets you book with eyes open instead of blind faith. Let's start with the watch list. Number 10, Treasure Island. This one hurts, because Treasure Island used to be something special. You remember the pirate show, the one out front, ships battling in that artificial lagoon, explosions, stunts, crowds 10 deep on the sidewalk watching for free. It was pure Vegas. Spectacle without a cover charge, entertainment just for walking by, the kind of thing that made this city feel generous. They killed it. 2013, shut it down, filled in the lagoon, replaced it with nothing. No new attraction, no upgraded experience, just empty space where magic used to happen. And the property has never recovered, not from the loss of identity, not from the loss of foot traffic, not from the sense that this is a resort that stopped trying. Occupancy has been sliding. Not collapsing, sliding. The slow decline of a property coasting on a name that used to mean something. The resort fee doesn't match the experience. The rooms feel dated. The energy that used to pull people in has dissipated. Your risk at Treasure Island? Diminished experience. Understaffing visible in wait times and service quality, but likely to survive in some form. The location is too valuable. Something will be there. Whether that something is worth your money is a different question. Number 9, The Link. Young, hip, modern. That was the pitch. The property for millennials. For the Instagram generation, connected to that outdoor promenade, steps from the high roller observation wheel, the marketing is great, the reality is thin, literally thin. The walls between rooms are thin enough to hear your neighbor's entire evening, their TV choices, their conversations, their regrets. The rooms are small, the prices are not. The high roller is right there. But one observation wheel can't carry an entire property. Review scores have been dropping. Not crashing, dropping. The slow erosion of a resort that promised fresh and delivers forgettable. Your risk at Link? Mediocre experience at premium prices. This isn't collapse risk, this is disappointment risk. You'll survive your stay, you just won't remember it fondly. Numbers 10 and 9 are concerning. I wouldn't book either without understanding what you're getting into. But they're not dangerous. The properties are underperforming, not dying. Number 8 is different. Number 8 is a property showing the early signs of something worse. Number 8, Flamingo, the oldest resort on the Las Vegas Strip. Bugsy Siegel's legacy, the property that started it all, the name that carries 70 years of history, and it's acting its age. Not in a charming vintage way, in a when was this last updated way. The rooms feel like time capsules, furniture that was modern during a different presidency, carpets that have absorbed more stories than they should. Revenue per room is declining. Renovation promises stretch years into the future, always coming, never arriving. The property trades entirely on two things now. Location, it's center strip, you can walk to everything. History, the name means something to people who remember what Vegas used to be. But location and history don't change sheets, don't fix plumbing, don't make service feel attentive. Your risk at Flamingo? Dated rooms. Inconsistent service. The persistent feeling of staying somewhere that stopped trying long ago. You're paying for the address. The experience comes second. Number 7, Excalibur. The castle. The family-friendly budget option. The place where parents could bring kids without breaking the bank. That was the positioning. Budget. Accessible. Vegas for regular people. Here's the problem. The budget positioning disappeared. The budget pricing did not. Resort fees have climbed aggressively, room rates have followed, the price tag keeps rising while the experience stays frozen. You're paying more than you used to pay. You're getting exactly what you always got. That math doesn't work. Families have options now. Other cities, other destinations, places that don't charge premium prices for economy experiences. Occupancy has been volatile. Good weeks, bad weeks, no consistent pattern except uncertainty. Heavy discounting isn't working. They're cutting prices and still not filling rooms. That's a warning sign. When discounts don't attract customers, something deeper is broken. Your risk at Excalibur? You get what you pay for, except now you're paying more. And getting the same dated rooms, the same tired theming, the same sense of a property that peaked 2 decades ago and never found a second act. The watch list. 4 properties. Treasure Island, coasting on memories. Link, promising hip and delivering hollow. Flamingo trading on history while the present crumbles. Excalibur charging premium prices for budget experience. All underperforming, all showing warning signs. All likely to survive in some form because the real estate alone has value. But here's where the list gets serious. Numbers 6 through 4 aren't just struggling, they're showing signs of genuine distress. The kind that affects operations. The kind that shows up in your experience whether you're paying attention or not. The kind that makes industry analysts start using words like restructuring and repositioning and strategic alternatives. Corporate code for trouble. And one of them might surprise you, because it's not a budget property trying to hold on. It's a name you've heard, a resort you've considered, maybe a property you've already booked. What's happening behind those doors? What the numbers reveal. What your risk actually looks like. That's next. Number 6, Planet Hollywood. Let me tell you what prime real estate is supposed to do for you. It's supposed to carry you. When you're sitting on the best corner of the most famous street in Las Vegas, the location alone should fill your rooms, should pack your restaurants, should generate foot traffic that turns into revenue without trying. Planet Hollywood has that location. Dead center of the strip. Walk out the front door and you're in the middle of everything. Bellagio fountains one direction, Paris Casino the other. The beating heart of Las Vegas tourism pulsing around you. That location is worth billions. And it's masking deep problems. The renovation promises started years ago. Coming soon. Under development, exciting changes ahead. The signs went up. The renderings got released. The press materials painted a picture of transformation. Still waiting. Rooms that were supposed to be modernized remain dated. Updates that were supposed to refresh the property remain theoretical. The future keeps getting pushed back while the present keeps deteriorating. And the staffing cuts. You feel them everywhere. The front desk with one agent handling a line of 20. The restaurant with empty tables and no one to seat you at them. The hallways where you walk for 10 minutes without seeing a single employee. Planet Hollywood hasn't just cut staff. It's hollowed out the human presence that makes hospitality feel like hospitality. I pulled the review data, down 22% in 18 months. 22%, same building, same address, same name on the marquee. Dramatically worse scores. The complaints cluster around the same themes: service delays, maintenance issues, the gap between what's promised and what's delivered. And here's the detail that tells you everything about priorities. Housekeeping is now opt-in. You have to request cleaning. They frame it as environmental, sustainable, a green initiative for a healthier planet. It's cost-cutting wearing a recycling symbol. They're charging premium strip prices and asking you to live in your own mess unless you specifically demand otherwise. Your risk at Planet Hollywood? You're paying for the location. The experience has hollowed out around it. The address is still worth something. What happens after you walk through the doors is increasingly worthless. Number 5. Luxor, the Black Pyramid. That beam of light shooting into the sky. The Sphinx guarding the entrance. The promise of ancient mysteries meeting modern excess. When Luxor opened, it was unlike anything Vegas had ever seen. Genuinely awe-inspiring. A building that made you feel like you'd stepped into another world. Another time. Another dimension where pyramids rose from the desert and magic felt possible. That Luxor is gone. What remains is a shell. Half the tower has been converted to non-gaming use. Conference space, meeting rooms, corporate functions. The Egyptian theming that made the property special has been systematically abandoned. The Nile River attraction gutted years ago. The immersive experience stripped away piece by piece. What's left feels like a pyramid-shaped convention center that happens to have a casino attached. And the operations reflect the identity crisis. The inclinators, those iconic elevators that move at a 39-degree angle up the pyramid walls. Part of what made staying at Luxor feel like an adventure. They break down constantly. Guests report 30-minute waits, 45 minutes, being stranded on floors with no way down except stairs that weren't designed for regular use. No communication from staff about when they'll be fixed. No compensation for the inconvenience. Just shrugs and suggestions to try again later. Your risk at Luxor? Significant service issues. Long waits for basic functions. The pervasive sense that management has given up on the guest experience. You're staying in a monument to what Vegas used to dream about, but the dream ended years ago. What's left is just geometry. Planet Hollywood and Luxor are in distress. Real distress. The kind where your vacation gets affected whether you know about these problems or not. You can book either property and survive the experience. You won't die, you won't be in danger, but you'll feel something wrong. In the wait times, in the service gaps, in the accumulated disappointments that add up to a vacation that falls short of what you imagined. That's distress. Visible, measurable, unavoidable. But number 4 is where this list takes a turn. Because number 4 isn't a budget property trying to survive. It's not a themed resort that lost its theme. Number 4 is a name you trust. A property you'd book without thinking twice. A resort positioned for special occasions, anniversaries, honeymoons, the trips that matter. And what's happening inside those walls should change how you think about it. Number 4, Paris, Las Vegas. The Eiffel Tower rising above the Strip. That perfect replica, half scale but somehow still magical. The restaurant at the top where you can watch the Bellagio fountains dance while you sip champagne. Paris was never trying to be authentic France. It was trying to be a feeling, romance, elegance. The sense that your special occasion deserved a special setting. For years, it delivered. Couples booked anniversary dinners. Proposals happened with the Strip glittering below. Honeymoons started with that view and those lights and the feeling that Vegas could be sophisticated when it wanted to be. The romance is dying now. Prices are up, significantly up. Room rates climbing, restaurant prices soaring. every touchpoint more expensive than it was 3 years ago. And the experience? Going the opposite direction. Mon Ami Gabi, the Sidewalk Cafe, the place where you could sit outside and watch the world walk by while eating French bistro food that actually tasted like someone cared. $40 eggs now. $40. For eggs that arrive cold, hollandaise that tastes institutional, portions that shrunk while prices exploded. The Eiffel Tower restaurant, the crown jewel, the reason to book Paris instead of anywhere else. Same story. Higher prices, longer waits, quality that doesn't match the view. The view is still spectacular. What they put on your plate while you're looking at it has become an afterthought. Here's what you need to understand about Paris. It's not an independent property. Paris is owned by Caesars Entertainment, same company that owns Caesars Palace, same company that owns several other struggling properties, same company drowning in $12 billion of debt. When one Caesars property cuts costs, they all cut costs. When one struggles, resources get shifted. Your romantic Paris getaway is connected to a corporate parent that's fighting for survival, and that fight shows up in your experience. Shared cost cutting across the portfolio. Shared staffing reductions. Shared decline. The Eiffel Tower still photographs beautifully. The Instagram shots still look magical. The reality doesn't match the photos anymore. Your risk at Paris? You're paying anniversary prices for forgettable experiences. You're booking a special occasion at a property that's forgotten how to make occasions feel special. You're trusting a name while the substance behind that name erodes. The romantic dinner that should be the highlight of your trip, becoming the story you tell about how Vegas has changed. Not a happy story. 3 properties. Planet Hollywood hiding problems behind a prime address. Luxor converted from wonder to warehouse. Paris selling romance it can no longer deliver. All in genuine distress. All affecting guest experience right now. All part of corporate structures that are fighting battles you can't see. But here's what concerns me about numbers 3 through 1. These aren't just disappointing properties. These aren't just resorts where you'll have a mediocre time and move on with your life. Numbers 3 through 1 are properties where the distress has reached a level that creates real risk, financial risk, operational risk, and in the worst cases, closure risk. The kind where your reservation itself becomes uncertain. The kind where industry insiders are having quiet conversations about timeline, about restructuring, about what happens when the math finally catches up. And one of them is a name so big, so iconic, that its struggle says something terrifying about the entire industry. If this property can fall this far, nothing is safe. What's happening inside those walls? What the numbers actually show? What your risk looks like if you've already booked? That's where we're going next. The first 6 properties on this list are struggling, some badly. Planet Hollywood hiding behind its address. Luxor converted into a convention center with rooms. Paris selling romance it can't deliver. The watch list properties coasting on names that used to mean something. All in distress. All affecting your experience. But all likely to survive in some form. The real estate is valuable. The locations are prime. Something will exist at those addresses even if what exists disappoints you. Numbers 3 through 1 are different. These are properties where industry insiders have stopped asking if there's a problem. They're asking when. When does the restructuring happen? When does the sale close? When does the announcement come that changes everything? If you have reservations at any of these properties, I'm not telling you to cancel. I'm telling you to pay attention, to have backup plans, to understand exactly what you're walking into. Number 3, Sahara. You might know it by its other name, SLS, or the name before that, or the name before that. This property has had more identities than a con artist, and it still hasn't figured out who it's supposed to be. The original Sahara opened in 1952. Old Vegas royalty, the Rat Pack era, Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and the golden age of cool. It closed in 2011. Reopened as SLS in 2014 with a completely different identity. Modern, minimalist, a Philippe Starck design that looked nothing like the classic it replaced. That didn't work either. Rebranded again in 2019. Back to Sahara, trying to reclaim the heritage while keeping the modern bones. 3 identities in less than a decade. Each one a confession that the last one failed. Here's the problem beyond the branding confusion. Location. The Sahara sits on the north end of the strip. That used to mean something. The Sahara and Circus anchored that end. Traffic flowed the full length of Las Vegas Boulevard. Not anymore. The center of gravity has shifted south. The new developments: the Cosmopolitan, Aria, the Park MGM cluster. That's where the energy lives now. The North Strip has become an afterthought. Tourists land at the airport on the south end. They stay south. They never make it up to properties like Sahara. You can see it in the occupancy numbers, reportedly below 50% on weekdays. 50%! Half the rooms empty on a regular Tuesday. Even with the convention center nearby, even with the monorail connection, even with everything the property has tried, the traffic isn't there. The foot traffic that drives impulse visits, the spillover from neighboring properties, the organic flow of tourists exploring the Strip, it doesn't reach the Sahara anymore. Your risk at Sahara? Operational instability. Staff turnover affecting consistency. The experience varying wildly depending on when you visit and who's working. And something deeper. This property could change hands again, could rebrand again, could announce something that affects your reservation before you arrive. When a property can't find its identity after 3 attempts, the 4th attempt might be something you didn't book. Number 2, Circus Circus, the family resort. That's what it was built to be. That's what it marketed itself as for decades. Bring the kids, see the circus acts, ride the Adventure Dome, experience Vegas without the adult stuff. Families have stopped coming, not because they don't want family entertainment, because Circus Circus stopped providing it. The circus acts that gave the property its name and its identity. Discontinued, gone. The performers who used to work the midway, the trapeze artists, the acrobats, the jugglers and clowns who made kids' eyes go wide, not there anymore. The Adventure Dome, the indoor theme park, the roller coasters and rides that were supposed to be the big draw, barely maintained. Rides closed for repairs that stretch months. Attractions operating at partial capacity. The sense of walking through something that's winding down rather than ramping up. The rooms tell the same story. When was the last meaningful renovation? Not a fresh coat of paint, not new bedspreads. A real update. The answer is longer ago than the property wants to admit. You're staying in rooms designed for a different era, priced like they've been updated, delivered like they've been forgotten. Circus Circus is owned by the same company that owns Treasure Island and several other struggling properties. When a parent company has multiple distressed assets, they make choices. Which property gets investment? Which property gets maintenance? Which property gets a future? And which property becomes a candidate for something else? The rumors have been circulating for years. Conversion to non-gaming use. The property sitting on valuable land that might be worth more as something other than a struggling family resort. Those rumors haven't gone away. They've intensified. Your risk at Circus Circus? Booking a property that may fundamentally change before your arrival, promising your kids a circus experience that no longer exists. Walking into a family resort that has abandoned families. The clowns are gone. The circus is over. What's left is a name on a building that doesn't match what's inside. Sahara and Circus Circus are in critical condition, the kind where industry analysts openly discuss alternatives to continued operation. The kind where quiet conversations happen about timelines and exit strategies. The kind where your reservation comes with an asterisk you can't see. But number 1 isn't a struggling older property. Number 1 isn't a budget resort that lost its way. Number 1 isn't a North Strip location fighting geography. Number 1 is one of the biggest names on the entire Strip. A property that's supposed to represent the best of what Vegas can be. A flagship, a crown jewel. And what's happening inside that building should concern everyone planning a Vegas trip. Number 1, MGM Grand. The Grand. Let that name sit for a moment. Grand. It's supposed to mean something. The largest hotel in America, over 5,000 rooms, a city within a city, the Emerald Tower that dominates the South Strip skyline. When MGM Grand opened in 1993, it was the biggest hotel in the world. Not just Vegas, the world. A statement of ambition so loud it echoed across continents. A declaration that Vegas could dream bigger than anyone else and deliver. The Grand was supposed to be the standard, the property other properties aspired to become, the flagship that showed the industry how it's done. Walk through it today. Really walk through it. Not rushing to your room, not distracted by your phone, actually looking at what surrounds you. The hallways stretch forever. That's always been true. It's a massive property. The walking is part of the deal. What's different now is what you see while you're walking. The carpets, stains that have developed geography, wear patterns that reveal years of traffic and months of neglect, spots that housekeeping has stopped trying to address because replacing the carpet would cost money and money goes somewhere else now. The walls, scuffs at shoulder height, chips in the trim, the accumulated evidence of millions of guests passing through and no one passing through with paint and purpose. The elevators. This is where it gets serious. Multiple elevators out of service at any given time. Not one, multiple. Guests waiting 15 minutes, 20, 30. Families with kids, elderly guests who can't take stairs, people with mobility issues who have no alternative, stranded on floors, waiting in lobbies, watching the numbers climb while their patience and their vacation time drain away. No communication, no estimated repair time, no compensation, just shrugs from staff who've given these shrugs so many times they've stopped feeling the weight of them. I read a review that stopped me cold. A guest wrote, "Paid $400 a night to feel like I was staying in a haunted hospital." A haunted hospital, $400. For an experience that made someone reach for horror movie language to describe it. That's the MGM Grand in 2025. Here's what you need to understand about why this matters. MGM Grand isn't just a hotel. It's the flagship of MGM Resorts International. The property that's supposed to showcase what the company can do when it really tries. MGM Resorts carries over $30 billion in liabilities. $30 billion! And their flagship property can't keep its elevators running, can't keep its carpets clean, can't deliver an experience that justifies the name Grand or the prices attached to it. When the largest hotel in America falls this far, it's not just one property struggling. It's a signal, a diagnosis, a sign that the problems run deeper than any single building. Your risk at MGM Grand, booking the name without understanding what the name has become, paying grand prices for an experience that feels abandoned, walking through hallways that stretch forever past evidence of decline that stretches longer, the elevators that might strand you, the maintenance that definitely won't happen, the gap between the $400 leaving your account and the $400 worth of experience you won't receive. MGM Grand, once the crown jewel, now the clearest example of how bad things have gotten. When the largest hotel in America can't maintain basic functions, what does that tell you? When the flagship of a major casino company feels like a haunted hospital, what does that say about the industry? When the Grand isn't grand anymore, where does that leave everyone else? 10 properties, 10 different levels of risk. But here's what matters more than any single name on this list: the pattern. The same forces hitting MGM Grand are hitting every resort on the Strip. The debt, the staffing cuts, the deferred maintenance, the hollowed out experiences. Even properties not on this list are feeling the pressure. Some are hiding it better, some have more runway, but the direction is the same. So, what do you do with this information? Properties 10 through 7. The watch list. Treasure Island, Link, Flamingo, Excalibur. Book with adjusted expectations. You'll be fine, you'll survive, you'll have a place to sleep and a casino to walk through. Just don't expect what you got 5 years ago. Don't expect the experience from the photos. Don't expect the Vegas these properties used to deliver. Lower your expectations and you'll lower your disappointment. Properties 6 through 4. The Distress Zone, Planet Hollywood, Luxor, Paris. Book with caution. Read recent reviews, not the ones from 2022, the ones from last month. Prepare for disappointment. Build buffer into your plans. Don't make these properties the centerpiece of a special occasion. Have backup restaurants in mind. Have backup plans in mind. Have the mindset of someone walking into uncertainty rather than someone expecting delivery. Properties 3 through 1. The Critical List, Sahara, Circus Circus. MGM Grand. Book with eyes wide open. Have backup options. Understand you're gambling in more ways than one. Monitor news about these properties between booking and arrival. Be prepared for announcements that change things. Have a plan B that's more than theoretical. And if you're booking for a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, a trip that can't afford to go wrong, ask yourself honestly whether these properties are worth the risk. Sometimes the answer is still yes. The price might be right, the location might matter more than the condition, your tolerance for uncertainty might be higher than average. That's fine. Just make it a conscious choice rather than a blind one. 10 casinos, 10 levels of distress. And one question you need to answer before your next booking. Are you willing to bet your vacation on a property that's betting everything on surviving one more quarter? These resorts are gambling with your experience, your money, your memories. Your anniversary dinner, your kid's birthday trip, your escape from everything that weighs you down. They're hoping you won't notice, hoping you'll show up anyway, hoping your loyalty and your nostalgia will outlast their decline. Hoping the name on the building still carries enough weight to fill the rooms while the rooms themselves fall apart. But now you know, now you've seen the list. Now you understand which properties are watching, which are distressed, which are critical. Now you have information that most tourists don't have. The question isn't whether Vegas is struggling, it is. Every property on this list proves it. The question is whether you're going to walk into that struggle blind, or with your eyes wide open. 10 casinos. Your choice. Choose carefully.